This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
We are streaming audio online all over the nation, www.onecast.in, numeral 1cast.in, 94.3 on the FM band on your radio sets right here in Mumbai City. Statutory warning. Only if you're not driving, you're in the backseat of a radio taxi, a chauffeur-driven car, at home, at work. You want to see some video? We are on Facebook Live, facebook.com/radio1.mum. Shibani Dandekar is in the house. Hello, beautiful. How are you?
What's up? How you doing?
And you've been traveling a lot, which is the way you like your life.
I do. I love traveling. I've been doing quite a bit of it over the last few months. I love being in here with you, though. This is amazing. It's so different to experience what an RJ does as opposed to what like a TV anchor does. It's so different.
Yeah. Well,
you gotta have your game on all the time. It's like a 600 words in like one minute. I can't do that.
Well, I'll tell you what's changed. I could sound like George Clooney and pretend to look like him till about 5 years ago, till Instagram and Facebook came and changed it all. And now they see an overweight South Indian sitting in a mic in front of the beautiful Shibani Dandekar, and they go, oh, that's not so cool. But the hazards of modern day life. We need the social networking. We need it.
You do. I know you got a camera in our face, which
But listen, I mean, this is travel of an entirely different kind because in a sense you went home. Didn't you?
I did. And the crazy thing about this entire setup was that collaborating with ESPN, Cricinfo, and Australian Tourism allowed me to do this show, go back home and explore Australia like I had never seen it before, even when I lived there. So while I'm Australian, while I grew up in Australia, inherently I know so many things that happen over there. I got to see it from a completely different perspective. And it's such a beautiful country, you know, and to be able to go to 5 different cities and explore it in a different capacity was just amazing. Because, I mean, when you live there, you kind of go to school and you come home and then you go hang out with your friends or you go clubbing or you go play sport and that's it. It's like when you live in a certain city, you explore maybe just like the same few aspects of that city. But when you know, Australian tourism really, I mean, they hooked up so many amazing things for us. ESPN, Cricinfo managed to get some incredible cricketers on board. And we just had a great time. I mean, there were moments where I felt like, crap, am I getting paid to do this? Like, am I actually, I would actually at the end of the day feel like, did I work enough today? I mean, I can't just be snorkeling and then eating at these amazing places and then feeding dolphins and then taking a ferry and that just be my job, right? Like someone's going to call me and be like, are you working? Because that's what it felt like. I felt like I was just on holiday.
You know, it's one thing to talk to cricketers. You know, you suit them up and you put them in front of a Harsha or you put them in front of a Sunny Gavaskar and all the cricket comes pouring out. The trick is to get the other side out of them. And most of them are really fun characters. I mean, you know, beyond their serious cricket face. I'm so happy that you managed to tap into that side of them.
You know, that's actually, it's strange that you mentioned that because that's actually my favorite part of speaking with cricketers. Because when you do something like a tournament like the IPL or whether it's any cricket tournament, there's a certain level of seriousness that comes with the interviews when you're speaking to them in their professional environment. Like you speak to them on the field and suddenly they've got like, you know, their game face on and the diplomatic answers come out and they're not as relaxed as you'd like to see them and you know that they have it in them. So when you take them out of that environment and you thrust them into this like regular world, especially with the Australians, they are such characters. And we just did some crazy things. I mean, we got every single cricketer to dance. Well, actually it happened by accident because I started playing, you know me, like social media just like on all the time. So we're in a chopper and I'm with Brad Hogg and the guy Trent who's actually riding the chopper, and I start like shooting an Instagram video and there's music. So Trent, the chopper guy, starts like bopping his head, and then Brad Hogg thought, okay, I better start bopping my head too. So with 3 of us just start dancing, and then we realize in every city we've got to get every cricketer to now dance. So by the time we got to the last city, which was Brisbane, it was Andy Bickle, you know, like CSK bowler, little older than the rest. I'm thinking, crap, how am I going to get this guy to dance? So I thought, let me just show him some of the videos. And he's like, right, Shibani, so what are we going to do? How are we going to top everything that you've done so far? And I was like, damn, he really wants to do this. So we went sand tobogganing and we managed to have the space to ourselves. And we thought, let's shoot the dancing video in front of like the sand hill.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, that's not good enough. Let's get on top of the sand hill and let's send the drone up there to shoot us. So we shot it like a Bollywood music video to, what's that Malaika song? With Shah Rukh where she dances on the train?
Chaya. Yeah.
We danced to that on top of a sand dune with a drone flying around us and like camera crew yelling 5, 6, 7, 8 action from the ground. It was hilarious.
And both the Brads, which is Hogg and Hodge.
Yeah.
I would never have imagined they have that side to them. Especially Hodge seems like this senior statesman of the game, when he's out on the pitch and things like that. Always got a dour expression on.
Yeah.
It was just you.
No, you know what? I would like to take credit for it, but he actually got into it the most. And he has this like war with Brad Hogg going on. A friendly one, of course. So as soon as he saw Hogg like bopping to the music in the helicopter, he was like, we need to beat this. We need to beat this for sure. And he was up for it. And he's like a Punjab guy, right?
Yeah, he is.
So he knows like things that happen in the north. He's also played for Rajasthan Royals. So.
There's no choice. They probably blare Punjabi music in the dressing room when you
exactly. So he was ready. He had the moves. He was really game.
So the chopper one is, did you fly over the 12 Apostles? Is that what you did?
We flew over Fremantle and Perth.
Oh, okay.
And the view from up there is just spectacular. I have to say, like, Australia is visually one of the most beautiful places in the world. Just to put things into perspective, I remember being up in the chopper, and I think it was Trent who told us that there are 25 million people in Australia, and there are 21 million people in Mumbai. So when you're walking around the streets, you're like, where is everybody? There's just so much space. It's green, it's lush, the water is like crystal clear. It was heaven. It was actually
I remember
beautiful.
when we went a couple of years ago, we hired a car and we drove down the Great Ocean Road, taking twice as long as we should have because you just want to stop everywhere, And did you stop by at Phillip Island, do some,
We did.
penguin watching? Yeah?
We did.
Yeah.
We stopped by Phillip Island. We did penguin watching. We went to Rottnest. That was really interesting because you get to Rottnest and it takes you an hour and a half to get around the entire island. So what you can do is actually cycle. And as you're cycling, you stop and you see these incredible, beautiful little bays. And there are 63 of them. The water is like a turquoise. And they're like little tiny bays that you can just kind of walk into. So it's like 63 little pieces of paradise on this one island. I mean, it was surreal. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before.
Did you go to Adelaide too, or was it
We
just...
went to Adelaide, we went to Melbourne, we went to Sydney, we went to Perth, and we went to Brisbane.
Did you go to that German town in the Adelaide Hills? I remember going and loving it. Yeah.
No, we actually didn't get enough time, but we did... I mean, Adelaide is known for its wine.
Yeah.
The vineyards and the incredible markets that they have, because the produce in Adelaide is the best. So we did spend a lot of time covering that, and of course we went to the stadium there as well. But yeah, no, we didn't get to go to the German town. Next time.
So here's Sean Tate, who's such a fearsome fast bowler. My God. Mm-hmm. It's almost as though he's bowling perfume balls all the time. The ball whizzes past you and you just really whiff it. And Ed Cohen, the two other guys that you had on, so your experience with them?
Yeah, I mean, I actually met Ed for the first time. So I'd never met him before, and we just hit it off so well. We were in Sydney, and actually I was supposed to surf with an instructor, and we cancelled that because Ed was like, why don't I just teach you to surf? So I thought, okay, cool. And it turns out he is the worst surfing teacher in the world. Because while, I'm paddling, and I said to him, just tell me when to stand on the board. I need to know. So I'd wait for his instructions, and the instructions wouldn't come. And I'd turn around, and he's gone off talking to somebody else. Like, just the worst teacher you could ever imagine. I never got up on the board, but such a great laugh and such a great personality. And such a fine cricketer. And of course, Sean, I've known for years, so it was great to catch up with him again. He bowled a couple of apples to me in the Adelaide market.
Apples?
He did. Bowled a couple of apples. Not at the speed that, he was supposed to, because he would have killed a few people. But it was fun. It was fun to catch up with him.
Indian cricket fans would obviously be very keen to know whether you filmed in all the stadiums. Did you do the MCG? Did you do the SCG? Did you get a bit of the cricket stadia in there? Yeah.
We did the MCG. We did the SCG. We did the Gabba, and We did all of them actually, I think. Yeah, I think we managed to cover 4, if not 5. And we also got like a great view of the new Optus Stadium, which is stunning. So we actually saw that from the chopper.
I love that whole area in Melbourne. You know, there's Melbourne Park, the tennis stadium, and then there's a cricket stadium. There's such a vibrant sporting culture.
It's like a sports centre.
Lovely.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. And Blue Mountains, did you do that?
We did the Blue
too?
Mountains, yeah. I mean, Sydney's home for me, so I've been to the Blue Mountains a gazillion times. But it was nice to go see it again because, you know, after a point, you don't really go out and explore the place that you kind of lived in. So for me to go back to the Blue Mountains was really nice. And also to take the crew who have never seen these things before. It was like a really small crew that we traveled with, which was nice. It was like a little family. And we had lots of fun.
And some of those kangaroos and wallabies can be a little nasty. And some of them got close for comfort. I saw an Instagram picture of you. One Mr. Kangaroo. Too close for comfort.
Yeah.
You obviously can handle them.
Oh yeah, I can handle. They're strong, you know. Like they are really. I mean, if they need to beat the crap out of you, they can. Yeah. So I was feeding them. I was feeding one in particular, and I ran out of Wheat Bix, which is what we feed them. I ran out of Wheat Bix, but to get the shot, I pretended I had the Wheat Bix in my hand, so I was messing with him a little bit. So he was trying to find the Wheat Bix in my hand, realized I didn't have it, so started looking elsewhere. Eventually made it up to my shoulder, where I had like a furry jacket on. So I don't know if he was trying to like find food or hump my jacket by the end of it, but it got a little scary. So we had to just kind of gently push him off.
Well, I'm sure you've handled many, many men who have
I have experience in that department.
Listen, there's obviously a hell of a lot of cricket happening in your life, and this time of an entirely different variety. I mean, GK has been trying to get me, Gaurav Kapoor has been trying to get me to see his show with you on it. I'm like...
You haven't seen it yet?
And I say, you know... it's a lot more pleasant watching you, GK. So I'm going to watch it. But I'm guilty. I haven't seen it as yet. But all these wives, and what do you call it? You call it
MissField.
How cool is that?
How clever is that? Well, that's Gaurav for you.
Yeah.
You know, he always comes up with these really quirky, witty kind of things. I mean, it's just kind of built in him, you know. So when he spoke to me about this and said, you know, I'd like for you to host it, I was like, yeah, absolutely, why not? And it's really interesting because we see these women. We see them in the stadiums. We see them kind of, you know, papped and behind the scenes, but we don't really get to know them properly. And they have such interesting lives and interesting stories and interesting careers themselves. So it's really great that we get the chance to tap in on that. And we've had such a great response to it because people now know them the way that we know.
Shikhar Dhawan's wife, she's awesome, isn't she?
Yeah. She's amazing, and she's a really good friend of mine, and I knew that starting off with her would be the best move because she has such a great story to tell, and she's just a fierce, strong woman. And yeah, I mean, people responded so well to her interview. We also had Deepika Palekal, we had Priyanka Raina, we had Mayanti Langer, we had Hazel Keach. So, you know, it's season 1. We've got many, many more that we want to talk to. And, yeah, hoping it goes into season 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just keep it going.
So you don't necessarily talk about their husbands at all or their cricketing careers or their husbands. That's one portion of it, maybe.
It's like a small aspect of it.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, it's, I mean, obviously that's related in some way, so it comes up. But it's not really the focal point.
So Deepika's squash would be there.
100%.
Ayesha's, does she box or something?
She's a boxer. Wow. She's also somebody who, you know, has come from a really different world to what Shikhar has come from. So for them to kind of come together when she's already had 2 kids, how Shikhar fits into that, how they've kind of reinvented their own version of family, and how she's kind of said, you know, this is my life, take it, leave it. And he's just been like taking it. And they've just, you know, they've just really made it their own, and they're the kind of family that you look up to and their goals really. And she is a proud housewife. She lives in Australia, he lives in Delhi. She travels with him on tour. That's the only time they really see each other. They've started a business together now, so they've got great stories to tell. You know, Deepika speaks about how the world of squash is so different to the world of cricket, and the amount of money that is in each sport, and how different it is when Dinesh travels with her to how different it is when she travels with Dinesh. It's like worlds apart. But she's a baller, that one. I mean, she's just like, they've all got such great stories and such power and such ambition and strength. It's actually inspiring to talk to them.
Who surprised you?
I would have to say Priyanka Raina surprised me the most, actually. Wow. You know, because there wasn't, I think out of all of the ladies, I didn't know as much about her as I knew about the others. And I think the kind of work that she does with NGOs and, you know, just through her own experience of what she went through when she had a child, and the troubles that she went through and how she wanted to give back and make sure that other women didn't go through the same thing. I mean, to use your own struggles and help other people, it's just amazing. So with every single woman, there was something completely different to talk about and something completely different to tell. It was different for me because I was just like hanging on their every word and listening. I felt like someone was just telling me a story. You know, those are the best kind of interviews.
So guys, go YouTube it. It's called Misfit. Much as I should too.
MissField.
The MissField, I beg your pardon. It's called MissField. Go YouTube it, and I shall do so too. Your folks, your family must be so happy you're doing a Marathi movie.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is confirmed yet. We are still in discussion, and it'll probably happen maybe by the end of the year or maybe sometime, you know, early next year. But it's something that I've been really wanting to do for a long time, just kind of waiting to find the right project. I think after I did that one time pass Marathi item song, the kind of like the desire to do more kicked in. But it's such a huge market, and the Marathi industry has such great stories to tell. The content is
amazing, isn't it?
Amazing.
Both
So really,
Marathi
really
theatre as well as cinema, yeah.
Yeah.
And it is your mother tongue, so
It is.
you're obviously fluent in it. You
Marathi
grew up,
bolte me.
so you grew up doing English and Marathi. You know, it's like people in the UK who grow up with their mother tongue and English, and then Hindi comes to them later, right?
Yeah, because when you grow up overseas, you kind of at home. I mean, to learn two languages is a bit difficult, right? You go with the one. So I remember being, coming home from school, we were only allowed to speak Marathi at home up until the age of 14, and if we didn't, we'd just get like a rap, you know. So you learn. That's how you learn. Because you're speaking English all the time. So, I mean, Hindi just never even comes into play until I got to India and realized that, oh, crap, people speak Hindi here, even in Maharashtra. Now what am I going to do? So
You've done very well for yourself,
Thank
Shibani
you.
Dandekar. And in that aspect, the baton passes from one Indian Aussie to another. I believe you're doing Lisa Hayden's role in Queen in two versions.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Lisa was amazing in this movie, you know. She was so good. So when I got the opportunity to kind of play her role in Telugu and Malayalam, I thought, why not? It's because you've already seen the movie, so you already have an idea of what needs to be done. But let me just tell you, South Indian languages, don't get it twisted, they are difficult.
So do they hold up a board with the lines in English?
No.
No.
I think being a TV presenter, I'm one of the things that kind of helps me the most is that I have a really good memory. So I can memorize things really well. So learning the lines wasn't a problem for me. I just had to kind of focus on delivering it and performing at the same time. And obviously a lot of work happens in the dubbing. We had to learn the lines while they were setting up the frame. It was insane. So you've got, like, you're speaking French, you're speaking English with a French accent, then you're speaking Telugu, or you're speaking Malayalam.
Hectic.
So hectic. And you're shooting for two movies at once. So it could be like one day you're working on Telugu, the other day you're working on Malayalam, and it's just like there are no brain cells left by the end of it. Dead. Done. Finished.
And your soul sister Monica and you're in a video together. I mean, it's her song, her album.
It's her song, yeah.
And you're obviously very proud of her, and you know
I love
the fact,
her, and I think I mean, you know, look, more props to her for doing everything that she's doing here in India. You know, it's not easy to break out with English music, and I think that she's got such a unique kind of eclectic sound. And when she asked me to be a part of this video, I was like, of course, like, just to get up there and grind with you, no problem. I think sometimes people think that just because we're together in this video that it might be our song, but it is Monica's album. It's Seeing Red, and See Me Now is the song that I feature on, and it was a lot of fun, you know, because I've kind of listened to her work on this track and all of the other tracks as she's been in the studio kind of creating them. So just to watch that journey and then to see it come to life and then also be part of the video. And, you know, I mean, I think everybody knows how much I love her. So for me to be there during that moment for her was it was so much fun. And we were just dancing in the streets. We were wearing saris. We went to like a shaving, you know, where the guys go and get their faces. And we just like stuck our leg on the counter and we're like shaving our legs. And there was a crowd, they were like, what are these chicks doing? And I was like, Mon, are you sure you know what you're doing? This is like freaking me out. But we did it.
And in that aspect, I mean, even though you're such different people, there's one thing that is common to the two of you, is that both of you hate being objectified. You know, you can be on your Insta feed having that perfect bikini bod, but I know that Monica and yourself want to be seen as what you are, which are just incredibly smart, articulate women.
Yeah.
You know, and this interview is all about that. But you talking about your life, and that must disturb you still when you see a lot of people still objectifying you, or you do you not give a damn?
I genuinely, there's very few things that I care about. I just don't give a shit. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but
What is your zodiac sign?
I'm a Virgo.
Ah, nice.
You know, like I just don't, like I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be obnoxious about it, but I feel like, have your opinion. I feel like there's always a way to say things, though. You know, there's a way to put across your point and your message. I work really hard in the gym. I'm really careful about what I eat. So if I put out a picture on Instagram and I'm wearing a bikini, it's because I really put in the work. You know, it's not just because I want to show people what I look like in a bikini. It's not about that. It's about, I train every single day. So a lot of what we do is aesthetic, yes, but it's important to remember that, you know, we also use our brain, and we're ambitious and we're driven and we work really hard. But, you know, when you're on a public platform, you open yourself up to people, you know, being allowed to say what they want to say. And I think you just kind of have to take the good and the bad. You just kind of
be
have
a little
to.
thick-skinned about the bad, and then, you know, open yourself out to only those select few people who really matter to you.
Yeah.
I guess that's
I think
pretty
it
much
comes
it.
part and parcel with being a part of this industry. You know what I mean? You can't just allow people to always tell you that this is great, this is great, this is great. They're going to say things. I mean, it's their responsibility to kind of understand when to just shut it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's people are going to have always something to say. You just need to have some thick skin and just be like, oh, it's fine.
So, Top Model and The Stage both will be back, as they should. What
Yeah.
great shows.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I love working with Colors Infinity. I feel like these two shows also really allow me to just be myself, you know? Both of them, actually. I mean, The Stage is a show where I just get to really be Shibani, and that for me is, it is work, but it's also something that I don't have to necessarily stick to a certain script or be a certain way. I just get to be as natural and as organic as possible, and that's a lot of fun. You know, it's different to when you're hosting the IPL, or it's different to when you are hosting any other. Like this show that I actually did with Australian Tourism and ESPN Cricinfo, it was the same thing. It was just me exploring this country and hanging out with cricketers the same way The Stage allows me to do just that. That's so
Well,
much fun.
you know, I was thinking, because your sister was, I was emceeing a motorcycle launch at Mehboob Studio a couple of days ago, and she was Apeksha was one of the singers. She was performing with a great band which had Warren Mendonça and all these guys.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you know, all your sisters are you're so busy and doing so well. Do you get enough time with each other? You know, I mean, you have your back, we know that. You have each other's back. But do you get to like catch the meal, weekly meal, monthly
We actually
catch?
just met yesterday, and that was after probably 6 months. But that usually happens when family is in town. Apeksha wasn't there, but Anusha and I were like Instagram messaging her the whole time. And that's it. Like now I don't know when we'll see each other again, but we are super busy and we're all doing our own thing. And we do have a family group on WhatsApp, so we speak regularly on that. But I think all members of my family, all 5 of us actually, we're quite independent, and we're all busy doing our own thing. So it's very difficult to get all of us in the same room. But we catch up when we can, and we're close.
And as long as you know that if the shit were to hit the roof, you're there for each other.
Oh,
That's it.
100%. Yeah.
You know that at the back
Yeah,
of
yeah,
your
yeah.
mind.
We know
That's
that for
really
sure.
valuable.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, last few questions before we wrap. So, what kind of music do you play at home when you have a party, when you're hanging with the girls? And what kind of music do you like when you're alone? Is it the same kind of music, or is it different? Is your party music different from Shibani phone music?
Well, I'm a straight up hip hop and R&B girl, so you'll always hear that if I'm First of all, I don't throw parties. I'm the biggest loser you will ever meet. I sit on my couch and I watch Netflix. That aside, if I was to have this imaginary party, there would be hip hop and R&B for sure. When it comes to me listening to music on my own, I feel like it changes, and I become really obsessed with something, and then I listen to that over and over and over again until the new thing comes along. So right now, A Star Is Born, the album, is on repeat. And so I lock myself in the room and I just play it and I start singing along, thinking I'm Lady Gaga, and that's what I do until I get sick of it, and then I'll move on to something else.
Dancing during festivals, do you when Ganpati's on, even when you were growing up as a kid, did that happen?
Never.
Never? No? Not during Diwali, during Ganpati, because we're bang in the middle of the festive season, which is why I'm asking.
No, I don't think I've ever danced during a festival. I mean,
The next time you see a Ganpati procession on the road, it might not be a bad idea for Monica and you to get off, do a quick jig and come back into your cars.
You think? You might get social media and go crazy. I hear my song all the time during Ganpati, though, my Marathi time pass song, which baffles me. But I mean, I love it. You sure go for it. Knock yourselves out.
One place you'd love to travel during the festive season.
I really want to go to the Maldives. I don't know if that's very exciting, but I really want to go to the Maldives. I have dived before, and I'm actually going to get a certificate. So I want to dive, and I want to do that.
The best vacation that you've ever taken, and why? Why it's your best?
Oh God. My best vacation would probably have to be when I traveled to Paris alone.
Wow.
For the first time.
The most romantic city in the world, and you're alone, which is quite a romantic notion.
I ate lots of chocolate eclairs and did lots of shopping.
So you do the
Seine cruise. Didn't miss having a man in my life.
Did you do the Seine cruise and go up to the Eiffel Tower on your own? You did all that.
I didn't go to the Eiffel Tower.
It's too touristy.
It's too touristy. But I ate lots of chocolate eclairs. I drank lots of great coffee.
So what are your Christmas plans? How do you celebrate Christmas normally? Or even if you don't anymore, how did you when you were in Oz, for example?
Well, when I was in Australia, I always used to go to my best friend's house because she is Australian, and they would have like a big Christmas. And I came from a Maharashtrian family, so Mum used Christmas Day to vacuum the house. Very exciting. So I would leave and go hang out with my best friend. And since we've come here, my sister usually does like a big Christmas lunch. So I'll probably see her on Christmas Day.
It's not too far away. So you have like a roast and everything.
Yeah, she's like one of those, OCD kind of.
This,
oh God, she's painfully like anal about doing things the right way. So everything has to be perfect, and the decorations and the food, and then.
What's your favorite part? Is it the tree? Is it the gifts around the tree? The Yuletide spirit?
I love putting the tree up. I think the fun part is playing Christmas carols and putting up a tree. But it's so different to when I lived in New York and when I lived in London, because it's not cold, It's like you got the AC on and you're like sweating and you're putting the tree up. It's a little different. The vibe is a little different, but still good.
So how are you bringing in the New Year's? If you do not know your plans thus far, you can tell us about a past New Year's Eve that you really love, like how you brought in 15 or 16 or 14. Do you have plans as of now to bring in 19?
I have a couple of options. I might go away with some friends to a house. I may work, or I may go outside of Bombay to a big party that's happening. But
do you remember memorable New Year's in the past?
It's the ones that I don't remember that are really good. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're the ones. I remember a few like dancing on top of furniture. Those are my favorite kind.
Listen, you're lovely, and I had a wonderful time chatting with you. Thank you, Shibani.
So much for having me.